That's all we want.
But this is the point I kind of lost there. I'm glad you said that, because what I wanted to say was, if we were reasonable, we would actually say, my God, this team has provided me years and hours and years of entertainment, of love, of this tribal feeling that we have with other people, where we all get together behind the same cause and we all love it, and we show up at the bar or at each other's house at the same time, at the same day every week, and it's the most amazing thing that you can't even put a price on. That's how we'd think, but instead, fuck this shit. It's what the result is.
There are only two things that get me to that point, man. It's football, specifically Packer games, and video games. I don't know what comes over me when both of those things occur. If they're not going my way, something visceral just bubbles up out of me. I cannot hold back. Both of those things just make me scream at my fucking television set, and it's so irrational. I could be losing a game of Mario. After the fifth time I lost at a level of Super Mario World or something, God fucking damn it! And it's same with Packers, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the other day, watching the Bucs game, they come out, so on Saturday afternoon, they come out and the Nets just look too small. They're dunking all over them. And so I'm sitting here, my boss has his lady friend over, she's outside, but I don't even give a fuck. I got my door wide open, and I'm just sitting here all by myself, just screaming at the fucking TV, "You're too small! You're too small! God damn it, kid!" But then the game turns, because the Nets, make some good adjustments, bring in some bigger fucking people, and I'm going, oh, god damn, I'm doing this for 3 hours without any, care for the fact that I'm an insane person right now, you know what I mean?
Right. You had brought up our friend Girak just before, and him and I were roommates for a while, as you know. And there was one day I woke up on a Saturday morning, and I lived downstairs, he lived upstairs, and I wake up and I just hear him screaming and stomping. I seriously thought that he was in a horrible argument with someone upstairs and he was about to beat the shit out of them. So I just kind of poked my head up over the stair, the railing of the stairs. He's just playing NBA 2K or whatever. All right, man.
That almost just made me spit my drink. I thought he was at least going to be, when I get it, because I've been that mad playing video games too. I've actually had it happen recently, but I thought for sure you were going to say he was watching a game. So when you said he was playing a video game, so that just extra made me want to spit my fucking drink out.
And he, he's not that kind of guy, and neither am I really. But something about those specific things just brings it out of people.
No, so I'll tell you the story, because the reason I just said cut that out off the air is because I was telling a personal story. I didn't want to give the friendship whole backstory, who he was, or even bring up his name on air. But since you did say he's one of the most chill, calm people you ever meet in your fucking life, he hung up on me the other night because of the Bucs. He straight up hung up the phone because I was fucking with him so hard about the Bucs, and I knew he was getting agitated, so I just kept pushing the buttons, just being an asshole, because that's the kind of guy that I am, and he fucking hung up the phone on
me. In all fairness, you are, when you're on a mission like that, you're pretty good at pushing people's buttons. So,
I know. But, okay. So I'll say this. When I'm pushing your buttons, a lot of times it has to do with, business, if we want to call this business, right? We were talking about the Bucs, man, and that's what I found fucking funny about it.
Yeah, of course. I just mean anything, but yeah, definitely there's again, going back to just there's something about fandom that just drives normally very rational people insane.
Yeah, But that's why we love it, though, right? That's why these sports, like, that's why they fucking rope us in, for sure.
Just like, well, I was going to say it's just like gambling, but it's not really like gambling unless you gamble on sports, which is a whole other realm that I have kept away from because I know that I could get sucked in so goddamn easy, but I just refuse to do it because I would like to keep some of my money.
I will not mix those two drugs. I'll mix a lot of drugs. No. I will not mix those two drugs whatsoever. Sports again. No. I will play daily fantasy sports because I believe that there's a level of skill that goes into that, and you can play for like 25 cents. You know what I mean? And like still get your fucking rocks off in that same way. But as far as like taking the over-under on like the Packers game or some shit like that, you know, like hell no. Like I ain't fucking... Yeah, I ain't touching that, you know, not at all. Plus, it's illegal. But
ooh, there's that one. I don't even know what to call it, but it happens in bars a lot, at least around here, where it's. I don't even know what to call it, but it's like where there's a box. I know it has to do with like the over under. I'm pretty sure, but like where you buy a box on a sheet of paper.
And you get a number, so that's the number of the last. Okay, so if it's like 17 to 12 after the first like quarter, the number's a 9 because you add the 7 and the 2. Whoever has 9 gets that money. So you get like 10 people per card, 0 through 9. Everybody puts in, you know, like whatever it is, and when you add so if you get a 7 or a 0 or a 3, that's a really good number to have because that's like natural in the game of football. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, like, and I mean, there's different pools, there are different ways that people play, but that's generally how that game works. Is that you get either 0 through 9, and then whatever number comes up at the end of a quarter. And so, like, the quarters have a smaller prize than the halves do. The full game has the biggest prize. You know, they'll break all that shit down. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, the only reason I brought that up... no, I'm glad you explained it further, because even I don't really understand that game fully. But just on sports gambling, that's the only... participation in that I've really done. Like, there's been a couple times where I'm just like, fuck it, I'm at the bar. They ask if I want to buy a square, so I'll buy a square because it's like $5, whatever. And there was one time, actually, like when the bar next to me first opened, they asked if I wanted to buy a square for the Badgers game, which I never watch college football because the rules drive me insane. But I just like, yeah, sure, why not? I had a beer and I bought a square, and next day, dude, I won $150. But the downside to winning that game is that it's like just common courtesy that you buy everyone in the bar.
Spin the bar.
Yeah, exactly. So in reality, I won $20, but still, it's like,
you gotta like, if you have this is why you gotta track your number. And, like, disappear and then show up at Monday right at opening, you know, like at 11 a.m., you know, when there's just, like, the two old drunk guys who could really use somebody to buy them a drink there, you know? Like...
Right. Yeah, I should have been smarter about it. But honestly, like, I couldn't really get out of it either way because I think, college is on Saturdays, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I bought it on a Saturday.
Most of the time.
Yeah. So I obviously bought it on Saturday, and then Sunday I think I got off work and I was walking into my house, and the lady came out. She's like, "Oh, you won all this money. Come on in, have a beer." And of course that means come on in and buy everyone a beer. So I really couldn't escape.
She pulled a fast one on you. Is what happened there. They're like. Even though the bar's really not paying that out because that's all everybody else's money, it's not like it's coming out of their like till, you know. But I think that's what happened there. I think a fast one got pulled on you, you know.
Yeah, a little bit of wool over my eyes.
But I gotta tell you,
fuck it.
I want to go back to a segue I tried to force before we even got into this whole thing, and when I called sports gambling illegal. Because I was totally trying to set myself up with a fastball down the middle about something I wanted to talk about. And we're gonna just turn this whole thing a little bit more serious. We're gonna change the mood. So I'm changing my tone.
Uh-oh.
Okay, everybody, you feel this? You feel how
Welcome
we're changing the tone? We're slowing it down a little bit. So it does start with a little bit of a joke. You know how there's like those cop SUVs, those little Ford kind of hatchback,
Ford
but
Explorers.
that. Like, and a lot of people drive them as well, and the white models. So there's a lot of people driving these, like, little new cop Jeeps that look like cops.
I hate everyone who has that, especially if they have a roof rack. Fuck you.
Exactly. So I saw one the other day that had not a cop written backwards on the windshield, so that if they were behind you, you could read.
But maybe that was just a cop being clever. Maybe, it was an undercover cop that was real stupid about his disguise. And
God, Matt, I love you because this is exactly where I'm heading with this conversation. This is exactly where I'm heading with this conversation is about undercover cops. So I was thinking about the nature of policing after I saw this thing. And then I started to think, not necessarily about undercover cops because they don't drive vehicles that look like cop cars. They drive whatever you think they're undercover. Mm-hmm. But there are unmarked cop vehicles.
Right.
Like, and my dad, being a police officer, used to always make, you wouldn't know an undercover cop when you saw it. It's an unmarked vehicle. When, like, you'd see a Crown Victoria that didn't have anything on it but had the little
truckers
little
call them plane wrappers.
You know? Right. You go, that's an unmarked. He had a fucking fuck that guy. Whatever, doesn't matter. So anyways, I was thinking about this, and it's like, here's truly our problem with the entire idea of policing in America. And I don't want to talk about race. I don't want to talk about anything other than the idea of the unmarked cop car. Why is it, if these people are supposed to be, like, protecting us, right? Why do you need to hide out to do that? Like, this is literally, to me, and it never, like, I've known about, we've all known about unmarked cop cars as long as we've been alive, or, like, as long as we've known about cops and whatever and been looking out for them. The idea that they need to put a secretive, like, we're just going to catch you doing something wrong when you don't know that we're looking after you. And the fact that there's that attitude between our police and our citizens is just, like, that's the problem.
And that is a very uniquely American thing. Like, there's even, because police vehicles are supposed to, like, legally have police markings on them, but it's incredibly indicative of the relationship between the American police and the American public that there's so many, like, I've even seen cop cars where you can only read that the sign says police if you shine your headlights on the door. And if these are public servants, and, like, the whole point of a police officer is supposed to be, like, you should be able to find them if you need help. But
protect
that's not
and
what
serve.
they're about.
Protect and
Exactly.
serve,
Like, if you look at any European cop cars, or just anywhere else in the world generally, like, they're very, like, multicolored. Everyone knows what a traditional police car looks like, like reflective bands and, very clearly says police and there's the lights and all that. You should be able to find a police officer because they are there to protect and serve, just as you said. But that is not what a lot of American police are about. They instead, again, as you said, they're there to catch you doing something wrong.
Exactly. So, like, how are we supposed to... How is anybody, and of course this issue does not affect us as much as our, brethren who actually, like, according to the police look like criminals if your skin's darker than ours is. I've heard that it's not cool to say people of color now anymore, and I don't want to say African Americans, I don't want to say Latino, Latinx, I don't know what to say. But people who don't look like you and me, Matt, obviously have a lot harder time with this. But if the general public has this idea that there's this watching eye behind us that's just looking out to see if we're doing something wrong. Like, where's the trust ever supposed to be fucking built on? You know what I mean? Like, what is ever that? And at least, like, on my, like, and I can say, yes, I'm a white male, but I'm also fucking poor, And I've been a stoner in, places where smoking weed was illegal for most of my life. And I remember hearing about this one little trick, where it's like